Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. So today I have an awesome video for you. You're gonna love the topic. It's about using your own identity and your personality to get the most out of life. We've heard this a few times, I'm sure, but you don't want to discredit how much you actually bring to the table. Check it out. I just want to let you know that I am now making videos almost every week about personal development and spirituality. So if you're interested and you want to stay up to date with the latest and the greatest, check out the subscription button right there and stay posted. All right, guys, I'm going to be giving some awesome content. So today's topic is about embracing who you are to get the most out of life. And this really comes from the idea, the notion, the fact that you are unique. And really every human being is unique. There are some things that we have in common, but when you really start to get down to the detailed level, it can be proven that not one human being is like another. For you and your own results in life and accomplishing the goals that you set out and living your dreams, it's really important to realize that we all have strengths and weaknesses. This is not a surprise to humanity. We've been this way forever. Some people's weaknesses is cheesecake. Other people, their weakness is pride. Other people, their weakness is anger. There's always something that can lead us to failure. And on the flip side of those weaknesses, we also have strengths. There's natural things that we're really, really good at. And then there's also areas where we've worked really hard and grown and developed to where we have gained a strength. Now, your own unique areas of strength, they have three main categories. You have your mind, that's your mental ability. Those are your experiences, everything that goes on up here to make you do what you do. And then you also have your body, your physical, appearance, looks, your genetics, your muscle development, how quickly you can notice things, the way your body processes the world, your sight, smell, taste, your senses, all of that encompasses your body. And then there is the far out topic and category of spirituality. I believe that we all have unique spiritual identities, and this is probably the hardest area to prove because spirituality is very difficult to measure, and that term can mean something different for a lot of people. But let's just take it as your eternal being, your ability to connect with life, connect with truth, and to sense death and what is not right in this world. That will be your spirituality. And so we all approach spirituality somewhat differently, and I believe we all have different spiritual strengths. So let's talk about those three categories really quick and how they make you unique. So with body, I like to start out with, DNA. So there are a lot of similarities in DNA, but there are some unique differences which lead to our physical differences, guys, and the way we interact with and deal with the world. We all have different fingerprints, we have varieties of skin color, hair color, and one that really determines how you interact with the world is how your body builds muscle and how it athletically interacts. And an example of people that have taken advantage of this are those YouTubers that go climbing on top of all these crazy skyscrapers. They make these videos and make a living doing insane physical stunts. And that's because they were born with these natural abilities, maybe with their baby crawling across the crib, or they developed this strength. And so now they can do it confidently, but their sense of balance and agility and the way their body physically interacts with their environment has led to this. Then next you have mind. And what I like to think about this, if you want to know how unique am I, well, think about it this way. Whenever you're born, it's almost like you have a blank slate of experience. Then immediately all these experiences start building up and creating who you are as a unique person. Oh no, whenever I was born, I was cold, and so maybe the world is a cold place, Just that's a kind of comical example, but as you experience the world and the way you think about these experiences create who you are as a person and your mental thought structure. And with this mental thought structure, that's what determines how you interact with people, how you react to opportunities, the choices you make. Do you choose to be productive or non-productive? And so much more. Do you approach things positively, negatively? So I really wanted to let you all know you guys are extremely unique because none of us, after a given amount of time, have the same amount of experiences. So we are all very unique people in the way that we interact and deal with the world. And there are great things with that and things that you got to watch out for. Lastly, spiritual. And this one is a little difficult because it's more far out, a little more difficult to measure. But if you look at and listen to people that are like really passionate about pursuing their spirituality, you'll see there's so many different ways that these people interact with what they see as the spiritual world and the spiritual realm. And you can have people that just have to feel, and just let themselves be alive and react to their environment in whatever way they feel is appropriate. And that is them letting their spirit loose and letting it alive, being their spirit animal, so to speak. Then you have people that want to go away and through deep reflection they find spirituality. And then there's other people that pursue religion or pursue God or gods and all of these things, and that's how they view that they interact with the spiritual world. And there's all these different ways, and I like to think that every human has their own unique way of dealing with the spiritual world. We have our massive similarities, but then there's slight little differences. Like, how do you go and connect with God? Do you go out into your backyard and sit down on a chair, or is it through hard work? There's so many different ways that we engage our spiritual side. And this is such an interesting topic, So if you have any comments on this, please definitely hit them up down below. So let's take a minute, and I want you to think about your body, your mind, and your spirituality, and think about just one thing from those three that you're good at. There's got to be at least one thing that you're proud of and that you're good at. Some of you might have hundreds, but others of you might be struggling to find just one thing, but I know there's one thing that you're proud of. All right, you got it? So that's a good thing right there. What you've identified is something that you can hold on to and that you can use to bring satisfaction and reach your personal goals. So we're just beginning to get into what makes you a unique person and why that is good. But before we get into more discussion, I just wanted to say it's so important when you're thinking about who you are as a person, and your body, your mind, and your spirit, that you use yourself correctly. And for example, if I ask you to go dig a hole so that we can plant some basil, to use to eat some tasty food later, and there's 4 tools, you have a pencil, you have a shovel, you have an old tire from a car, and then you have an iPhone 1 that you never gave away to a friend and you never quite got rid of and just found it today. Which one would you use to dig the hole? You have 4 options, 4 different ways to dig this hole. And if you want to get that hole dug really quickly, really fast, and move on and have some fun, you choose the shovel. And so whenever you're looking at your own self and your situations, embrace who you are as a unique person and use those strengths that come with that. Because I think in our society today, there's all this peer pressure to be something that we're not really. And instead of just embracing our own self, we spend a lot of time trying to be something that we're not. And so we waste energy. And that's just like if you took that pencil and said, okay, I'm going to dig this hole. Yeah, you're going to dig that hole, but it's going to take you like 100 times longer than if you used a shovel. And so that's how you can approach life. You can do other things and succumb to these peer pressures, and you spend a whole lot of time doing something that you really didn't need to spend that much time to get purpose out of life. Or you can just embrace who you are and use that to get to where you want to be. And you'll save a whole lot of time. So I'm sure y'all are wondering, well, D. Murph, who made you like the king of knowledge? How can you sit here and tell us all this stuff and about how to know our unique identity and all that? And it's exactly what this next topic part of the discussion is going to be all about. There is a way to know. And if you don't know right now, and you're like, well, I don't know what body type I am, I don't know what my personality is, and I don't know all these other things, and it's just too much, don't worry, because there are many smart people that have gone before you and they're studying all this stuff, and they've created all sorts of great tools to help you discover that. That's what I personally have used, and it's helped me so much with understanding myself and understanding other people. Whenever you're doing a project for school or for work, there's 2 ways to do this project. There's the basic way, and then there's the complicated way, right? There's the way that maybe if it goes well, the project will be done very quickly and you can just move on. And then there's a complicated way that creates more and more burdens and scenarios because it's so detailed and there's so many different things you can do, and have you done all the right steps So that's kind of how you can approach identifying your unique personality, is that there is a basic way of understanding yourself that will give you 95% of the tools you need to be successful in life, or you can obsess about the details and take a really long route and almost fully understand yourself. In learning your unique personality, I would say just get into the information and play around with it, and don't feel like you have to know everything to know yourself. If you understand the basics of who you are, then that's enough to get, like I said, about 95% of what you want done. And so it's that learning all those very complicated details, they are helpful, but they're not quite necessary to get the most out of life. A great tool that I absolutely love is 16personalities.com. It's based off this test, the Myers-Briggs personality test, and it has this theory that there's 16 different types of personality based off of the different ways they interact with the world. And some people say, oh, there's so many more types of personalities, so many more detailed breakdowns. And yeah, I agree with that. But for the basics, understanding just the foundation, the framework, and getting some good ideas to understand yourself, this test is amazing. And it's at 16personalities.com. Really easy to take and then really easy to read too. And the great things about understanding the Myers-Briggs is it explains a few things, like are you introverted or are you extroverted? And that simply means, do you get most of your energy from interacting with other people, or do you get most of your energy from sitting and reflecting and thinking? Then there's another one that I absolutely love because I'm intuitive, but there is, are you intuitive or are you sensing? And that means, do you basically come to your conclusions off of an intuition, and that's your internal way of processing the world around you and coming to a conclusion? Or do your conclusions have to be based off of your senses? What is solid? What is known? Do you have to have solid facts to believe something and make a choice on it? And I'm intuitive, and so that's why I really enjoy talking about spirituality, I think, because spirituality is something that you kind of have to have an ability to believe in the unseen and to be imaginative and not have to absolutely measure everything you do. Spirituality is a kind of a broad, vague concept, and so you have to have a little bit of intuition in order to approach it and be comfortable with that. So there's two more main categories. That's, are you thinking or are you feeling, and are you judging or are you perceiving? And altogether, these 4 different categories with their 2 different types make up 16 different types of personalities. And you'll go there and it'll tell you what type you are, and then you can read all about it, tell you about how you interact with other people, your love life, how you interact with work. And this is not going to completely 100% sum you up, but it will give you a great foundation for understanding yourself and building upon. And there are other types of tests you can take to even further understand your personality, like the DISC assessment and so many different kinds. I personally like the Myers-Briggs a whole lot, so I'm talking to you guys about that. And feel free to take as many tests as you want, read as many books, but I absolutely have to say it's so important that you become curious about what your personality is in order to understand it very well, because not a whole lot of people are going to tell you who you are. You kind of have to go out there and find out for yourself. There are a few people that are passionate about this and they can really explain to you in great detail, but it's ultimately up to you to understand who you are and to make the most of that. So for this process of getting to know your personality better, understand that it's not just going to be black and white, cut and dry. It's going to take a little bit of work, a little bit of creativity, and a little bit of effort to really get a good idea of who you are. Lastly, kind of mentioned this a few times, it takes research. You have to go out there, you're going to have to open a few books, you're going to have to watch a few videos, maybe like mine, to get the journey started. But you're going to have to do a little bit of work gathering information together, compiling information, and making conclusions based off this information. Which research doesn't always sound fun, especially if you're a student in school. You might get tired of research, but I'm telling you, I promise you 110%, this is research that you can take with you for the rest of your life. So guys, I want to end this discussion with the last section, which I call flexing your muscles. And that basically means when you identify your personality, your body type, your spirituality type, don't be afraid to grow those areas. If you find out, oh my gosh, I'm an introvert and I don't get a whole lot of energy interacting and socializing, That's fun to do, it's fun to interact with people, but that's not going to be my main energy source. Don't feel too bad if you have to go away and be by yourself and spend some time reflecting to feel like life is okay. You know, you can go and you can explain that to people. This is just who I am. I need to spend a little bit of time. I'm going to feel great. I'll be right back. These areas, your areas that make up your unique identity or your unique personality, are basically your areas of strength. If you embrace them and you nurture them and you grow them and you're not ashamed of them, they're going to bring big returns to you. Like that introvert example that I had, introverts can really take in information and break it down and make it make sense, and they can remember a ton of detail, right? Extroverts, we're a little bit more caught up in the social energy and the interactions and that sort of thing, and we can get off track from time to time. But an introvert has that special strength when it comes to thinking through a situation or spending time to reflect. An extrovert might, oh well, I'm just gonna go interact and maybe I'll reflect later. So develop your unique areas on a constant basis. Realize that you will get the most from life, the biggest return, if you embrace those. And at times it might feel a little weird, but it'll bring you to your places of strength. Right? Don't apologize for being you. Just because you're different and people don't necessarily understand fully who you are, you don't have to feel bad about that or apologize for that. If you grow muscles really, really well and everyone is a little jealous, you don't have to feel bad about the fact that your body naturally grows muscles quickly. If you're really, really smart, you're doing great in school and other people are struggling around you, you don't have to feel bad for having that. Maybe you can find a way to help them do better, or and the least, enjoy your good grades. You don't have to underperform for being strong in a certain area. And that's what happens sometimes. Some people will feel like they're not strong enough, or they're not smart enough, or vice versa. They're too strong, they're too smart. They're not spiritual enough, or they're too spiritual. And that may just be part of your unique identity, and that's something that you don't have to apologize for. Now, if you're being rude and you're being mean to people, you gotta apologize for that. But if you're being respectful and nice towards others, and there's something about you that shouldn't be bothering other people, but it does, then you don't really need to apologize for that. Embrace your unique identity, go with it, and grow with it. There are so many different types of personalities, and we need each other to make this world into an awesome place, an interesting place, and a fun place. And to personally grow and to develop, we can't look down on our differences, because those are our key areas to getting the most out of life. So guys, my conclusion to all of this is to embrace your unique identity, make the most of it, and help other people do the same. This is how you get the most out of life, how you live passionately, live fully, and achieve your goals. All right, well, until the next video, I will see you guys later. Have a great one. I love you. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.